Brand day, amazing souls. How are you feeling? So, as usual, my higher self gives me that thing, that spark that I need daily, right? So, this is what I was downloaded with this rising, right? This is the scenario, and I didn't understand it at first. So, Source was showing me a relationship between a brown child and a mixed child, right? And the mixed child was more on the lighter side, which means that this child could have maybe possibly um, been categorized as a Caucasian, right? So what happened was this mixed child was at some point told not to play with the brown child, right? And I remember in school, especially in high school, because I don't remember too much of middle school and elementary, but in high school, I think those years mattered the most to this scenario. I remember I used to love writing, right? I used to write a lot. There was always English papers that I would have to do because I had English 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I enjoyed I enjoyed that. And it really groomed me for college, right? Because I enjoyed college even more there. I had a lot more free range to co-create on paper in college, so I really did enjoy it. Anyway, my point is, I was able to free think when I got in college, right? I was able to expand my creativeness in college. Not so much in high school, but I will say I was always praised for my writing, right? And in high school, it showed me how a world of free thinkers are not groomed. And so that scenario with the two little girls, there's a scenario being a narrative being pushed that this child cannot choose who she chooses to be friends with, but instead her parent get to chooses her friend, or her guardian get to chooses who she can connect with and who she cannot connect with. And it's so deep because there's a situation going on with my daughter right now, and the parent is very messy. And I told my daughter, I said, be mindful. I didn't tell her not to engage with this child or anything, but be very mindful, because when you have a messy parent, the child is 9 times out of 10 going to be messy. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm telling her, oh, don't do this and don't do that. I need her to be able to think for herself. I need for her to be able to use her intuitive abilities to discern what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. And I don't know if this message is specific for someone. However, we have to allow our children to think freely, because this is what develops the imagination. When there are so many stipulations put on a child, it dulls the imagination, and we need the imagination. We need a world of free thinkers. We need a world that will lead us into our spiritual essence. And remember, our children are the ones that are coming up in this mess, right? And a lot of people will say, well, this is just one child, but that one child can make a difference, right? Why can't it be your child? Why shouldn't it be your child that makes a difference? So always keep that in mind when, and honestly, I allow my children to make a lot of choices. And some people say, oh, that's not so great. Well, they have the choice to eat. I mean, when I was younger, my dad used to beat me for not eating, but I refuse to beat my children if they don't want to eat. Hey, that's your stomach. You have to live with tonight. Tonight, you have to live with not eating. And my children are very picky, so I do try to accommodate. But if it's something that they can eat, something that they will eat, and they choose not to eat it at night, hey, it's on you. Like my youngest daughter, she don't eat fish. I accommodate her for that, right? I understand that my dad didn't eat fish. I think that's a number three thing. They don't really do seafood too tough. I don't know. But anyway, me and my oldest daughter do. So I'll accommodate my youngest daughter because I know sometimes me and my oldest daughter we water babies. We, we want we want that water, right? So and I don't eat fish often. But if I would call myself anything, it would be a pescatarian. I do indulge once in a while, right? I try not to I try to stay away from meat. And this is another thing, my dad always taught me to do things in moderation, and I think that was one of the greatest lessons that my dad taught me. And this is one of the things that allows me to help my baby make choices for their own self, be free thinkers for their own selves. Even though my dad was more of the controlling type, like you do what I say, not as I do, right? Um, but yeah, I don't even know how I became a free thinker in a world full of people stifling my imagination. Right? Think back to when you were younger. How much did you get to express? Right? Did your imagination get to run wild? And it's so deep because we really truly need the imagination within um, a lot of individuals. I won't say all because you know you have a world of differences. So yeah, that's my message for today. If you haven't heard it today, I love you. I love me. I love us. Peace. Have an amazing rest of your day.